everybody on YouTube. Figured I'd make another video, just kind of show you what I've been up to. See, I'm holding a scythe. I recently purchased this. I got it in the mail today. It is a Tops blade made in Austria. I think it's, if I remember, it says Fuchs on the tang. There's like one factory in Austria that makes, I think, all of these European style scythe blades. And I made the Snath that it goes on. See the whole thing. It's made out of mahogany, just because that's what I had laying around in the shop. There's actually, I think, a piece of old molding or something. Is pretty thick stuff. So I cut a slice off and made the whole shaft. And then it was actually long enough that I had enough pieces left to make the actual the handles where you actually hold it. So it's pretty cool. Just kind of a word about making snaths. I would recommend you make them straight, especially if you're just starting out. Either if you don't have the woodworking skills or the scythe skills, I guess. Just because you know, cutting a straight piece of wood is a lot easier than trying to cut something straight and then either use steam to bend it or to cut it into thin strips and glue those into a form. It's a lot more work, and it takes a lot more how do I want to say, experimentation to get the right angle correct. If you are making a straight snath, I found directions from a website. I looked up snath making, and it said to make them about approximately as tall as you are. That way you get the correct amount of reach, that way you don't have to actually bend your back over too much, which is a big no-no when you're using a scythe. You should be able to keep your back relatively straight and just bend your knees a bit. But I'm going to show you guys how this one works. Like I said, and I got this blade from scythesupply.com. Pretty cool. It's 26 inches long. The way they measure it, I believe, is if I remember, they measure from the tip to the corner right here. So from here to here, I think, is 26 inches, if I'm remembering that correctly. And these blades are incredibly light. I'll show you guys an American style scythe blade, but this only weighs, like, I believe 17 ounces, so slightly more than a pound. It's incredibly thin though. I don't know if you can see how thin it is, but the edge is, as it gets down to the edge, it gets about as thick as cardstock, heavy paper. It's very thin, so it cuts through the grass incredibly easily. So I'll adjust the camera angle and I'll show you guys how it cuts. So let's see if you can see that all. Let me move the camera slightly, so that'll help. Now the only thing today is that the grass isn't particularly tall in this spot, and it isn't wet, which helps. If you mow grass with a scythe, it's best to do it in the very early morning, right around when the sun comes up, because the dew is still on the grass. When the grass is wetter, it makes the grass a little denser, so that way if you have like really springy grass or really tender stuff, It helps to make it a little heavier so the blade can cut through it. If it's really dry, it tends to just push the grass aside rather than cut it. Of course, you need to have a very sharp blade. Sharpening isn't particularly hard. There's a couple videos on YouTube that you could watch if you want to see sharpening. I use this whetstone here. It has a nice little wooden handle on it. You just dip it in water in a little cup you keep on your belt, and you just go across the blade, you know, something like that. I'm not gonna do it now. It doesn't need sharpened yet. I can show you some taller grass here. Yeah, there we go. Alright. See if this, hopefully this will show up on camera as I cut it. So hopefully that was all in the shot. You guys actually got to see the cutting action. When you swing the blade, you basically want to move in an arc. You basically, when you hold it, you pivot with your right hand and pull with your left. So you pivot. The pivot point is your right hand on these traditional straight snaths. But as you can see, it cuts through the grass very well. I think one of the biggest benefits of a scythe is that it's mostly, I think the biggest benefit is for actually trimming tight areas, especially around delicate flower beds or mulched areas. If you use a string trimmer, you're liable to damage flowers or leaves of, more delicate plant stuff that you want to look nice and you don't want to kill by accident. If you're trying to get the grass right up to the edge, it can be very difficult. If you use a scythe blade, you can just get right under the grass, or get right in the grass and get under those delicate plants very easily and just very lightly trim away those areas. But hold on just a second, and I'm going to go show you a different style blade. Alright, we're back. And just show you this. I built this wooden sheath. It's just out of pine. I just routed a large groove through it where the blade actually goes, and as you can see, it's a pretty snug fit. It will not fall out juggling it around like that. You actually have to pull it out. just to kind of show you a difference between the two. This American style blade, I believe, is about 30 inches long. It probably weighs a good roughly 3 pounds, I would say, maybe 2.5. It's easily twice as heavy as this blade, even though this blade is slightly shorter. It probably weighs close to 3 times as much as this Austrian European style scythe blade. So, however, this blade I got for $1. It was on an old scythe, and that's actually where I got the hardware. I don't know if you can see it, but the clamping block right here and ring, and this Snath saber adjustment ring here were from the old scythe that came with this blade, and I got it for $1 at an auction. The only thing with these is that they really are not designed to cut lawns and grass, really light stuff, very easily. If you do want to cut grass with one of these, you can. You have to get the blade extremely sharp, and you have to have pretty tall grass. I would say it would have to be a good, probably almost 6 inches tall, maybe a little shorter, and it would need to be pretty wet too in order for this blade to cut it. Otherwise, it really doesn't cut much at all, just of your standard lawn. Now, this is good for trimming woody plants or weeds or really overgrown reeds and stuff around fences and things. It's definitely cheaper to start out with this though, so it's definitely a fun thing to try. I would recommend if you're interested in trying a scythe. It does take a little bit of practice. These European blades, though, are incredibly easy to use, so they're definitely worth the money. It's a fun, different way to trim the grass, and it's a lot quieter. So, thanks for watching.